How y'all doing, sports fans? Welcome back to another episode of Element Sports Talk on YouTube. Do us a favor, subscribe, like. I hope you're having a good day out here in Indiana. It's raining and pouring all day, but I like the rain. I actually was about to go outside a little earlier and sit outside and just watch the drizzle, but you know, it is what it is. How's sunny Florida, Moses?
It's lovely, better than where you at. That's all I gotta say.
Well, nah, it's been pretty good weather. You know, I ain't gonna lie, it's been pretty good weather. The weather's been doing us justice out here. Nice sun, and you know, springtime around here is pretty good. I won't lie to you. This is probably the best place to be. Even though I'm not for all this weather stuff, because the truth of the matter, the spring is not long enough, right? Because we're about to hit summer around here, and it's gonna be sweating potatoes out here. And so it is what it is, man. And so, hey, let's jump into this. I hope y'all all had a beautiful Sabbath day. We actually went out to church today as a family. And so we're trying to get back into the routine of attending church instead of YouTube. So, hey, just because you're watching us on YouTube don't mean you need to stop. Keep watching us on YouTube, though. You know what I mean? But we're trying to stop the YouTube church thing and actually attend church in the building. But let's jump into this. Yo, I'm tired of the draft talk. I'm so ready for the draft, and it's still too far away, right? We're talking about April 29th, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my head is going to explode because of all the NFL draft talk. Let me tell you how nonsense it's gotten. So let me ask you this: do you think Mike Gesicki for the Dolphins, is he elite?
No.
It shouldn't even be a question. It's not even why. That's not even a debate, but that's the debate that Dolphin fans were having on Twitter today, right? That's how bored they are because they want to draft Pitts. Like they're in love with Pitts, Kyle Pitts, and at all costs. In fact, it was funny because Schrader, I think his name is, on the NFL Network came out with a mock draft. He actually had us picking Slater, the offensive tackle from Northwestern, over Kyle Pitts, and Dolphins fans went nuts on him. They attacked him so hard that he had to come on his show the next day and talk about it. I was like, my bad, y'all, relax. Like, it's okay. So I'm over it. Like, Dolphin fans over here talking about Gesicki has elite and this and that. Like, calm down. But guess what? We're going to have some more draft talks about draft talk. Anyway, first of all, yeah, we're gonna have some draft talk on the show tonight, so be ready. But Moses, let me ask you this question, man. How do you feel about the Sam Darnold trade? So Sam Darnold just got traded. He got traded. All right. I believe it was this week. Yes, this week, right? Mm-hmm. So now we know definitely that the Jets are taking a quarterback, right? The assumption out there is that it's going to be Wilson. And so now you're definitely Wilson. And mind you, you guys don't have a legit backup. So Wilson is getting drafted and he's going to be the clear starter. Whoa, big time. Hey, I just know my defense about to eat the Jets up alive. Anyway, how do you feel about the trade and Wilson being the number one starter with the Jets?
Well, as far as Wilson being the starter, everybody thinks that's what's going to happen. I believe that's what's going to happen. They've been talking it up. All the draft experts on every network are saying that it's going to be Wilson. So I'm okay with that, right? So I have no problem with that. They're just going to throw him to the fire. They're going to throw him in the fire. I'm pretty sure they're going to help him out. As far as their running backs, maybe they'll go ahead and draft the running back high in the second round to lean, because it's going to be, I believe it's going to be more of a run team. We're going to be running more and taking a lot of pressure off of him, not expecting him to drop back or be in the gun and pass 30, 40 times a game. That is not going to happen. Darnold, we talked about this before. Darnold, we expected Darnold to get traded. They're trying to clean that whole regime, that last regime that was in there. They're trying to wipe the stench, everything off of that organization, right? So the question that we're asking is, what is fair compensation, or what do we expect that we would get for Darnold in a trade in a trade? And they actually did pretty. I think they did pretty good. They weren't getting a first round pick. We already knew that. The thing is that, can they get a second round pick? I believe if it was this year, because when you trade a future draft picks, whatever, it doesn't equal the same value as the present year, this year. So we thought the best that they could do is probably a third round pick, because it wasn't a secret that they were targeting a quarterback. So even all the GMs in the league, they knew that, yo, wait till they get enamored and fall in love with whoever they want to. They're going to have to kick Darnold out. We could get him for cheap. So I could thought maybe a late round pick, a third round pick. I was like, they're probably going to get a third round pick for it. So when they got a sixth round, when I first saw a sixth round pick, I'm like, ugh, that's ugly. But then they said, okay, but you get a second next year. And I believe a fourth, second and fourth. So I'm like, hey, that's good. Because everybody know that you weren't going to start him. You're going to throw Wilson to the fire. There's nothing like on the job training, essentially. And that's what it's going to be. So if they built their defense like I think they built their defense, he does not have to like light up the scoreboard. They're not going to rely on that. If the defense is elite, top 5, top 10 defense, and he doesn't turn over the ball, and they basically a game manager, because basically that's what he's going to be in his first year, because he's not going to know everything. It's going to be a game manager. If he could manage the game, limit the turnovers, I believe he could be very successful in his first year while he learns the playbook, get comfortable with the speed of the NFL and the competition, because this is not BYU. It's not those competitions that he was facing over there. So I believe they got the fair value for Darnold. Yeah, man, I'm okay with it. It's cool.
So you said you believe he can have a successful year. So what does success look like for Wilson in his first year? Like, give me some wins, give me some projected yards, passing, and TDs. What do you think that looks like?
I can tell you right there, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the form of the win-loss ratio, the win-loss column. Like, he could be 1 in 16, or what was it? Yeah, he could be 1 in 16 this year, right? But as long as we see the progression every single week of him improving, and then we see that, that boy, you see that throw? Oh yeah, that boy really got something. Like, if we get some pieces around him, oh yeah. If you could see that, like, people are touting or singing his praises like he is, like those plays that jump out to you on the television. If you can see those type of play, then you're like, okay, yeah, we got somebody here. Just let him get a little bit more experience, more complete team around him, and he could do damage. As long as you can see the weekly progression, then it'll be a successful year. But if we go win at the end of the year, we like, bro, he did everything that Sam Darnold did, and actually something Sam Darnold did better. Then no, that's
okay.
trash.
Okay. So then let me ask you this. Okay, before I comment back, let me ask you this then. What do you envision with Sam Darnold now in Carolina, linked back up with his guy, his receiver that he had, that they were they're really well connected, Robbie Anderson. So what do you see out of Sam Darnold happening in Carolina?
To tell you the truth, if this was prior to Tannehill, I'd be like, he ain't gonna do much. But to tell you the truth, I've seen it. I watched the game and I see some plays where Sam Darnold made some really good plays. Like, that's a good throw. Like, I wasn't as low on him as other people were. Like, if they would have kept him for this year and would have did like a skill position or beef up the offensive line, I wouldn't have been too mad at that. Because the new coach and the new regime that's there, I would give them the opportunity, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if he does really good in Carolina, because he got weapons in Carolina, a lot more weapons than he had over here in New York, right? Or New York. So I would not be surprised if he has a very, very successful year, and I wouldn't be surprised if he signs one of them contracts that Tannehill signed with Tennessee after he had that amazing year a couple of years back.
It'll be interesting to see how Sam Darnold works out, and I hope he does do good. He's got your boy CMC back there that he'll be tossing the ball around. So, with that guy, all you got to do is give him the ball. Just find a way to pass it to him, hand it off. You good all day, right? And you ain't got nothing to worry about. But I do worry that one of the things that I hate. Now, let me take back the worry. I'm not worried because I'm not a Jets fan, and so I don't care. Y'all do what y'all do. But one of the things that I hate about the NFL is that we're so soft at the quarterback position, right? Like, we're scared to give quarterbacks competition. It's funny because we allocate so much resources towards the quarterback position, but yet we're afraid. So I don't like the idea of giving a rookie quarterback the straight. And I'm old school a little bit, right? And so and because I am of age, where I like to see my quarterback seasoned a little bit. You know what I mean? Sprinkle some nice little sauce on them. You know what I mean? Let it sit in the refrigerator for a little bit. Let it marinate a little bit before you get it out and put it on the stove. And so I would have loved to see them keep Sam Darnold, still draft Wilson, let them compete. Competition, especially when it comes to these guys. These are guys that have been competing since they were like 2 years old. They come out the womb competing. This is how they got to the high level that they're at. So why not let Wilson and Sam Darnold compete? Whoever wins, wins. Worst case scenario, you end up with the similar situation with Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers, right? And so eventually you let one go and then you let the other play out. But it doesn't happen in the NFL. They don't believe in competition. And now you've got a rookie quarterback that's about to start in a division with 3 masterminds on defense, right? Bill Belichick might not have the strongest team, but he's going to come after that rookie, right? We know Flores is putting the defense out there. He's going to get his. And we know Buffalo is legit on both sides of the ball. And so watch what happens. Just like you said, you're going to see some glimpse. Like at some moments, Wilson is going to look amazing, just like we saw with Tua, right? Against Arizona, Tua looked amazing. You're like, whoa, our future looks good. But then you have moments at the end of the season where Tua played against Buffalo, and it's like, is he the legit quarterback? Like I was ready. I'm like, we might have to take a quarterback at number 3. Remember, we had an episode and I was talking about it. Like, we might have to take a quarterback. The same thing's going to happen to Wilson, and you're never going to get a clear evaluation of this guy simply because you threw him out to the wolves too early. But hey, it is sink and swim. You never know. He might be legit and he might be able to rise to the top. You know, they say the cream rise to the top. And so he'll probably be able to do that. He's going to have, listen, the beautiful thing about the way you guys are building, the way the Dolphins are building is that we've got a ton of draft picks. You just said it. You just added another 2nd round pick next year. And so that's huge, huge, huge. So even if he falls short, like if he doesn't look amazing, looks whatever, let's just say he does go 1-16 and looks terrible. The reality is next year you'll be picking at the top of the draft again. You just grab you another quarterback and call it a day. You know what I mean? And so that's the amazing things about having all this draft capital.
And that's acceptable now. Like, it's not crazy anymore that, 1 year, that didn't work. 1 year drafting a quarterback didn't work. And okay, the following week you draft another one high. They're like, okay, yep. and it's acceptable. Now it's like you draft as many quarterbacks until you get the right one. So so we can't do that.
Exactly. And so it'll be interesting. And it'll be interesting to see if they bring in a backup to actually tutelage him or help him out a little bit. But here we go. Let's talk a little bit of draft noise here real quick for the next few minutes. We got number 4 Falcons. We got the number 5 Bengals drafting at number 5, right? So we got the Falcons and the Bengals. Obviously it's a quarterback needy league. We just started the show by talking about Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson, right? And so we know that there are multiple teams. We know that there are reports that the Broncos they aren't in love with their current quarterback, Drew Lock. And we know that Pats have signed Cam Newton. But the thing is, everybody's been talking about, you see how Belichick has been operating. Tom Brady got that man operating with like he got a fire on up his butt like he ain't playing. He acting totally different, right? Out of script. And so we know that the rumors have said that maybe the Broncos and the Pats are going to trade up to that number 4 or number 5 spot. And so we know that also that there are elite players. Like, for instance, the Bengals need an offensive tackle. They need also, there's rumors around that Joe Burrow is pushing hard for him to reconnect with Chase. And so has a Falcons and Bengals, if you were the GM, you're the Falcons, you're the Bengals, would you be willing to trade away, even though you could get an elite player? You know, they're talking about Kyle Pitts as a once-in-a-generational player. Offensive tackle, I know there's been some negative things about Sewell, the offensive tackle, but prior to all that, they were saying he's elite legit. would you be willing to trade back and let the Broncos and Pats come up to get a Trey Lance or Justin Fields? What would you do at that number 4 or 5 spot for if you're the Falcons or Bengals?
All right, let's go ahead and start with the Falcons. They need a quarterback. They're going to need a quarterback. Not necessarily right now. They need a quarterback because they got Matt Ryan. If you believe in Matt Ryan, because I know they have a whole new training staff too. If you believe in Matt Ryan, then you're gonna stay with Matt Ryan. But then you start thinking, how long do you have with Matt Ryan? You have a whole bunch of aging superstar. Julio is not going to play for that long. And if he does play longer and he gets another contract, that's a lot of money. Matt Ryan is still costing a lot of money on the books. I don't know how much money he has still that's guaranteed, but I'm pretty sure after a year or two, you'll be able to get away from Matt Ryan, like release him without taking a big dead money hit on your cap. So you need to start thinking about your quarterback. If you believe that, say, Fields or the other guy.
Yeah, it feels Trey Lance right now. That might be the 4th and the 5th right now.
Yeah. Lance,
they got
Lance
Mac Jones. Supposedly, everybody's saying Mac Jones is going number 3.
Yeah, so it Fields and Lance. If you have both of those dudes, you think that, oh snap, they can be a franchise quarterback. You go ahead and you pick them. Have them sit underneath, behind Matt Ryan. And let them groom, and then you'll have your quarterback for your future. If not, if you do not believe in one of those guys, you trade back, because you've seen the haul that San Francisco just gave up. If you have the Denver Broncos, I'm pretty sure if they that desperate to move away from Locke, that they'll give you a haul like that to set you up in the future. If you get a couple like two future first round picks, you can go ahead when I'm drawing a blank now. When Ryan is like 35, 36, and you're getting ready to move on from him, and then you have a quarterback, you have enough ammo, no matter where position that you're drafting, you have enough ammo to go get a quarterback in the future. Because if you don't have a quarterback, bro, you don't got a team. You're not doing anything, because this league is ran by quarterbacks. It's a quarterback-driven league, right? So they need to think of something that they want to do. Either take the quarterback this year, if not, trade back to have future ammunition to take a quarterback or a skill position player in the next couple of years, right? As far as the Bengals, yeah, as far as the Bengals, what they should do is take Sewell. They should take him, because their offensive line was horrible last year, dude.
Got that man killed.
They got that man killed and knocked out for the rest of the season. It was horrible. This is the time. Okay, I understand you want to go ahead and get Chase and get that connection again, but if homie can't stay upright, you ain't getting touchdowns. It's sacks, and he's getting hurt, and somebody else is throwing the chase or trying to throw the chase, right? So take Penei Sewell, have them solidify that line, give him protection, because they already have weapons over there, dude.
Yeah.
They already have weapons. They already have wide receivers, right? So not having Chase is not going to hurt them. It's not like they have a bare cupboard, right? So get that offensive line help to help Burrow stay upright and then go on from there. That's what I think they should do.
I'll start with the Bengals. Flat out, I think you hit it right on the head, nail on the head. Like, the Bengals have I'm tired of all this nonsense. One of the problems why I'm really, because I've been following the NFL draft really, really close this year. But I've always followed it close, but this year even more. Like, I'm reading news, doing mock drafts, reading up on mock drafts. And I'm just tired of all the fake news. Oh my gosh, there's so much fake news that you got to try to decipher through, try to figure out. Like, bro, y'all need to stop the nonsense. The Bengals are taking an offensive tackle. Stop the fake news. It is detrimental to the young man's career if they do not take an offensive tackle. Like, that's facts. He got hurt last season because your offensive line sucks. Joe Mixon is a really good running back, but because your offensive line sucks, that man can't do nothing. Stop with the fake news. Like, stop. and the offensive tackle is getting taken that. The only thing that might be up for discussion now, because the rumor is that the offensive tackle from Northwestern, Slater, is better on some people's boards, is above Sewell. So we can argue which one they might want to take. Let's argue that, but they're not. Stop the nonsense. They're not taking a wide receiver. They're not taking a tight end. They need the offensive tackle. It's funny because on social media they were showing this little comic. I don't know if I sent it to you. They showed a comic of Joe Burrow sitting in the back. So they drafted Chase, and they showed Chase running down wide open, but Joe Burrow getting tackled. Boom! So he can't get Ja'Marr Chase. But then they show them drafting the offensive tackle Sewell, and they showed Sewell blocking, and then Chase throwing to anybody. Like if he can stand back there, Joe Burrow's gonna throw it to anybody, and they're gonna be just fine. So you're right, 100%. Bengals drafting an offensive tackle, and I don't think they should trade out of there because you don't want to. Maybe trade to the Broncos because that's not too far down. That's still at 8, and so even if someone, which I highly doubt, would take Sewell at that point, because the quarterbacks would go still 3, then Falcons would take a skill position player, and then whoever traded with them at that point would take a quarterback. And so then 6 and 7, you would still have 6, 7, and 8, you would still have 6 skill position players going. So at number 9, Broncos if you traded back to Broncos, you could still probably get your offensive tackle, but I wouldn't even take the chance once again, because you believe Joe Burrow is special. You believe he's a difference maker. And that 1 year at LSU, man, oh my God, last year at LSU, that boy played. He played like an all-star. Let that man, give that man some time, and I believe he'll cook. So let's go to the Falcons. The Falcons is interesting, right? Peter King, I was listening to Peter King this week on the Joe Rose show, and Peter King says he thinks that the Falcons are going to take a quarterback. If they don't trade out of it, just like you just said, he thinks that they're going to take a quarterback because it makes sense. Just like I said, I'm old school, right? And I believe that if you do it the right way, it works better. So Matt Ryan is coming to the end of his career. You draft the quarterback right now, even if they sit for a year, 2 years. And the amazing thing about it that we got to begin to understand is that these contracts for quarterbacks in the NFL are only going up. It's way more money. So what you don't want to do, you don't want to be paying a guy like Matt Ryan over $25 million a year. You don't want to be paying that guy $30 million a year. Hey, you draft you a quarterback, let Matt Ryan finish out his contract or finish out this year, and then you cut him, trade him, do what you got to do. And then by then, you allow whoever it is, whether it's Trey Lance, Justin Fields, you allow them to take over and do what they do best. The honest truth is the Falcons don't need another skill position player. Oh, you got Ridley, you got Jones, you okay. You don't need another receiver. You don't need another tight. Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be beautiful, but you just don't need that right now. But I do like the idea of them actually taking a trade and getting as many picks as they want. Because the truth of the matter is they have holes on their team, obviously, but those holes can be filled up at number 9 or at number 15 where the Pats are being picked. You can trade back because I think they should take a quarterback like Peter King is saying, and like you're saying, like you just said, but at the same time, maybe if you push back, you know what I mean, you'll be okay. You'll still be able to get a lot of draft picks, and then you can draft a quarterback next year or the year after that. And so the important thing for me is I need to know what these guys are doing. Like, I love the fact that San Fran went ahead and made the trade so I could see what happened. The Carolina Panthers made a trade for Sam Darnold. Now I know they're out of the quarterback race. They're not going to be trading up. So I need to know what these teams are doing because all this speculation is killing me, right? Because it's a bunch of speculation. A lot of people giving out fake things that they don't really know and things that people are lying to them about. And so I need to know what's going on so I can calm my nerves and I can know who the Dolphins are going to take. You know what I mean? That's what I need to know.
I'll tell you this, as far as the Carolina Panthers, I would not be surprised if a quarterback is available that they still pick a quarterback. Because at this point, like we said before, you pick as many quarterbacks until you hit on one. If they go that route, like even though if they have to give a second next year for Sam Darnold, it's like, yo, it's an investment. We're seeing what we have in him. If we have to give a second round pick, and he does fail, it's okay. It's just a pick. So okay, we have say Lance, or if Fields is still there, or we have Fields in the cut, and we give him an opportunity. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pick a quarterback with that pick.
It's so interesting because like I don't know why NFL teams are so scared. Like, man, like just like you just said, even now it's funny because I understand the concept of not allocating too many resources because that's a business. You got to be business savvy of not allocating too many resources into one position. But even now, they're talking about, oh, they're going to trade Teddy Bridgewater. Why? I'm Sam Darnold, Teddy Bridgewater, and if a quarterback falls at that position, I'm taking Trey Lance or whoever falls and bring them in and let the three go at it. Let them go at it. Because at the end of the day, if you have an elite quarterback in the NFL, you're sitting pretty. Go ahead.
At that point, I understand why they're trying to trade Bridgewater is because I don't know what his cap hit is, but he's getting paid starter money. If he's on that team, he's getting paid starter money. So at that point, it's like, okay, why are we paying this guy $20 million or whatever the number is if he is not starting? We could take that money. Say if he has he's getting $20 million, he has a 10 million cap hit. We could take that extra 10 million and invest it in other part of the team. So at that point, I understand why they would want to get him.
If your team is in need of of more money. So if your team is in need of more money because you can't allocate it all to one position. And so that's why we have the salary cap. So maybe then you do have to cut him so that you can, or trade him so that you can get some of that money back. But once again, word on the street is, I saw a report today, this week also, is that they soured on Teddy. They were over Teddy. They don't think he's a legit quarterback in this NFL. And so that's why they're trading him. But if they didn't, I still like all three. I would bring in all three. And listen, man, as a GM, man, like they need to give me an opportunity to GM, and I would cook. Like I would cook. Now I understand that it's hard because you don't want to offend anyone. These players are sensitive, but man, I'm cooking until I find me Dan Marino. I'm drafting a quarterback every year until I find a Dan Marino. People are gonna be like, boy. And the funny thing is, they'd only give me like 2 seasons and I'll be gone. But I'm drafting those 2 seasons. I'm drafting a quarterback. Those 2 seasons, I'm turning it over every song. Hey, listen. So right now, what I envision, what I'm hoping happens is at 1, obviously we know Trevor Lawrence is going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? You tell me if you agree or disagree. So we got 1, Trevor Lawrence going to the Jaguars. 2, we have Zach Wilson going to the Jets. Number 3, I don't believe the report, so I'm going to put in my own. I believe Justin Fields is actually the quarterback here, right? I think the Mac Jones is a whole screen thing, and that's just a bunch of nonsense. At 4, I think Trey Lance goes here. I just don't know to what team, because I don't know if a team's going to trade in or trade out for that. But I think Trey Lance goes here. At 5, I think the Bengals take the offensive tackle Sewell, and then at 6. Let the draft begin, baby. Let the draft begin. The big fight happens. Pitts versus Chase. Obviously, all you guys are saying Kyle Pitts. I'll say that's what happens. Kyle Pitts happens at number 6. That's not who I want. I want Chase. I really do. I want Chase.
Y'all take Slater. Y'all take Slater.
But listen, you want me to be real? My reaction to Schroger's, whatever his name is, I apologize, I'm butchering his name. Peter, I'll say his name, Peter, from the NFL Network. My reaction was real simple. Like, if we took Slater, I'd still be happy. He had us taking Slater, and then after taking Slater, he had us taking Harris at the 18th spot. Man, we booked. Like, you know how bad that offense would be? Come on, man. Like, I'm not upset about that. The Dolphins can't get this wrong. Hey, on that note, hey, y'all, I hate to cut us off because my battery life is about to die. And if it dies, it's going to look ugly for me to just jump off and not say anything. Hey, Moses, man, tell the people something good.
Man, something good. Have a good weekend. Well, it's a weekend. By the time you watch this, have a good week, man. Stay up. Be a positive life in somebody's life, man. Come on, let's do that.
I like that. Hey, do me a favor, share, like, subscribe, help us out, man. We only had 30 people, man. Y'all stop tripping and help us out. Make it happen. Peace. God loves y'all.
Peace.